Grainger PLC. It sounds like a fancy brand of crackers, but it's actually the UK's largest listed residential landlord. They own over 9,000 homes, mostly in London and other big cities. Now, being a landlord is a tough business, right? You've got to keep tenants happy, fix leaky faucets, the whole shebang. But when you're as big as Grainger, those everyday issues become magnified. At Clippers Quay in Manchester, tenants are being told that rent prices are being hiked because people from London are moving up. But if Grainger raises rents across thousands of properties, it impacts the entire housing market. Suddenly, finding an affordable place to live becomes a game of Hunger Games. But instead of fighting for your life, you're fighting for a semi-decent flat with working plumbing. And let's be clear, Grainger isn't renting out garden sheds here. They're marketing towards young professionals, offering sleek apartments with gyms and co-working spaces. It's all very live work, pay exorbitant rent. But behind the shiny facade, there's a growing chorus of tenant complaints, raising questions about Grainger's practices and their impact on the housing crisis. Let's talk rent increases, shall we? It's a tale as old as time. Landlords want to make more money, tenants want to keep more money. But with Grainger, it's not just about a few quid here and there. They've been criticised for above-market rent increases, often exceeding inflation and wage growth.
Imagine this. You're a young professional, finally landed your dream job in the big city. You snag a Grainger flat thinking, this is it, I've made it. Then, bam! Your rent jumps by 10% the next year. Suddenly, that avocado toast doesn't seem so appealing anymore.
These rent hikes put immense pressure on tenants, forcing them to choose between paying rent and covering other essential costs. Food, transportation, therapy to cope with the stress of living paycheck to paycheck, it all adds up. And for those already struggling, a rent increase can be the difference between keeping a roof over their heads and facing eviction. So, you're a Grainger tenant, dealing with sky-high rent. Surely, the least they can do is provide decent service, right? Well, buckle up, because we're about to enter the wild world of Grainger's customer service. Or should we say lack thereof?
Tenants have reported long delays in repairs, unresponsive management, and a general sense of, we've got your money, what are you complaining about? Imagine calling about a leaking pipe, only to be met with the bureaucratic equivalent of a shrug, or sending multiple emails about a broken heating system, only to receive silence in return.
Now, to be fair, managing thousands of properties is no walk in the park. But when you're a corporate giant like Grainger, you have the resources to invest in efficient maintenance and responsive communication. Because let's be real, nobody wants to live with a leaky faucet and a landlord who ghosts them.
Okay, folks, time for the heavy stuff, evictions. It's a landlord's last resort, right? Well, some argue that Grainger is a little too quick to reach for that eviction button. They've been criticised for their handling of rent arrears, particularly during times of economic hardship.
Remember the pandemic? Yeah, that little global crisis. Millions lost their jobs, businesses shut down, and people were struggling to put food on the table. Grainger, however, continued to issue eviction notices, even when government guidelines advised against it.
Now, Grainger argues that they offer repayment plans and work with tenants facing difficulties. But critics say these efforts are often too little, too late. Eviction is a traumatic experience leading to instability, financial ruin, and a whole lot of emotional baggage. And when a company as powerful as Grainger wields that power, it raises serious questions about corporate responsibility and the human cost of profit.